The effect of time you see everywhere. So, there's only the present moment in your immediate experience. That's a very important realization, because that takes you the awareness of that fact, not just intellectual recognition that this is actually so, but to sense the, dare I say it, to sense the power of the present moment. That is something that one cannot explain.
If I'm talking to you and you're thinking about where you're going to go for lunch and who you're going to go with and how you're going to get there, and I'm talking to you, you left the present moment and your attention went to some future. And your energy will go down and you won't be able to comprehend what I said. If you start thinking about what you should have said at the staff meeting 3 days ago, and I'm talking to you and your mind is back in the past, you're siphoning energy out of the present moment into the past. So people are constantly siphoning their energy into a familiar past or a predictable future because that's where their attention is. And the stronger the emotions that we feel to certain problems and conditions in our life, the more we pay attention to them. So we give our power away to our ex. We give our power away to that big problem. And that's creative energy that we should be able to use to create a new future.
Are you happy?
I'm not searching for happiness. I'm searching for peace. If there's happiness, there is sadness. If something can rise, something must fall. If you can attain something, there's something to lose. That's why it's difficult. That's why I stop the moment. I don't know what type of happiness you mean. Being satisfied with where I'm standing, yes. Does it mean that I don't have hard moments? I have hard moments. And that's why for me, like, what is it I ultimately look for? I would call it's just peace.
The less healthy the personality, the less flexible that it is. So very healthy people have extraordinarily flexible personalities. So the core of mental health is flexibility. It's almost like physical health, right? A person who's physically healthy has a lot of flexibility in their muscles and joints. A mentally healthy person has a lot of flexibility in their psyche.
How do we define flexibility in our psyche?
I would say it's an adaptability. It is a self-awareness and awareness of others. It's the ability to engage in novel problem solving and not get stuck on a singular solution. It's the capacity to be able to self-regulate and to self-soothe. When there's disappointment, there's the capacity to cope with it. It's a lot of coping, a lot of resilience is in that flexibility piece, right? That is the core of health. I've worked with people who have survived severe trauma. The ones who really are standing in a different way, it's that flexibility, right? And you think about it. If a tree is flexible, it'll bend with the wind.
Children don't get enough good attention, they'll certainly go after bad attention because the fundamental human currency is attention. It's one thing to be hated, but it's another thing entirely to be ignored. And I would say, generally speaking, if you put people in a corner and you made them choose, would you rather be ignored or hated? They'd take hated because at least then you exist in your relationship to other people. Some of the bad behavior is rewarded precisely for that reason, is that it does draw attention. I mean, you think about the people who do heinous crimes, like the school shooters, people like that, who do these things that are almost inconceivable. Huge part of the drive for that is fantasies about notoriety and the emergence from obscurity and anonymity. The idea is, I'd rather be dead and infamous than alive and anonymous.
What about the concept of coddling children? And what about the concept of creating, what someone would call a mama's boy?
So there's a study that I quote in the book where they looked at new mothers and how they related to their infants. And most of them related very well. Some were not that available, and some were extra doting and extra coddling, you might say, with their infants. They looked at the adults 35 years later. The people that were the most independent and successful and self-actualized were the ones that were super loved by their mothers. And the conclusion of the researchers was, you can't love children too much. Now, the case that you describe is not too much loving, but loving that comes from a very anxious place. So these mothers that coddle their kids when the kids doesn't need coddling, they're not doing it because the child needs it. They're doing it because they need it.
Right.
They're doing it because they were not coddled enough. They're anxious, and they pass that anxiety onto the child.
Whenever you feel sad or mad or nervous or out of control, write down what you're thinking. And then ask yourself, is it true? How do I feel when I have this thought? How do I act when I have this thought? And what's the outcome of the thought? And then turn it to the opposite. How would I feel if I didn't have the thought? How would I act if I didn't have the thought? What's the outcome of not having that thought? Write down 100 of your worst thoughts. Take them through that process. And by the time you get to 30, they'll stop bothering.
5 ways to become mentally resilient from a licensed therapist. Number 1, you lean into uncomfortable emotions. That anxious energy in your body, you don't avoid it. You face it, you sit with it. And even though it's hard, you know that's where the growth is. Avoidance keeps you stuck. Leaning in builds emotional resilience. Number 2, your self-talk is useful and truthful. Forget positive or negative. Ask, am I talking to myself in a way that is helping me? That shift trains your brain to stay grounded and focused, especially when things get hard. Number 3, reward your effort, not your intelligence. Dr. Carol Dweck discovered something surprising. Praising intelligence is actually worse than no praise at all. But when you praise effort, you build persistence, better long-term outcomes, and a mindset that keeps going when things get hard. Number 4, mentally rehearse hard situations. Picture yourself staying calm under pressure. Imagine yourself, what you'll say, how you'll feel. That kind of mental training wires your brain for resilience before the stress even shows up. Number 5, ask to be taught, not saved. Instead of, can you just do it for me? Try, can you show me how? It takes longer, sure, but it turns you into someone who solves problems, no matter how hard things get.
If a person would sit down and let their body relax, totally relax, okay, and then start to visualize in their mind, see themselves the way they want to see themselves. See how you'd like to live your life. See yourself living it that way. Take that picture and describe it. Write it out in the present tense. I am so happy now that I see myself, and write it out. Start to read it and read it and read it and read it every day. Carry it around, keep reading it. The one point that all the great teachers, all down through history, have all agreed on, they've been in complete unanimous agreement on it, we become what we think about. A lot of people will laugh at this and say, that doesn't make any sense. Now, it may be fantasy at first, it might even appear to us as being a lie. But if you read it often enough, you'll start to believe it. So our thoughts control our actions. Our thoughts control our feelings. Okay. Our feelings control our actions.
Thoughts produce an electrical charge in the quantum field, and feelings produce a magnetic charge in the quantum field. And how you think and how you feel broadcasts an electromagnetic signature that influences every single atom in your life. The thought sends the signal out, and the feeling draws the event back. So you could have the intent that you want wealth, you want health, you want success. That's your intent, that's your thought. But if you're waiting for the experience to happen to feel it, then you're not drawing the experience to you because you're not feeling the emotion. When you create from the field instead of from matter, when there's a vibrational match between your energy and some potential, and your thoughts and feelings are coherent, now you are going to begin to collapse time and space, or the experience is going to be drawn to you. Now you're the vortex to your destiny, and now you don't have to go anywhere to get it because you're not playing by the rules of three-dimensional reality. You're playing by the rules of energy and the quantum.
If you will say before you go to sleep, I believe something wonderful is going to happen to me tomorrow. And if you'll say when you get up in the morning, I believe something wonderful is going to happen to me today. And if all day long you say, I believe something wonderful is going to happen to me, you'll find that as you go to sleep the next night, and try this today, it's a very powerful exercise. It sounds a little bit corny, but it's a very powerful exercise. If you'll try it, you'll find that when you go to sleep, You will not be able to think of all the wonderful things that happen to you. You'll just be surprised that your parking spaces will open up and friends will call and you'll get checks in the mail. Just your life will be a series of really positive, happy experiences. So always expect the best. I believe something wonderful is going to happen to me today, and by the inexorability of a law of nature, it's going to happen to you. I can assure you it's happened to thousands and thousands and thousands of our graduates who will literally astonish you the effect of this corny little exercise.
You can manifest absolutely anything that you want in this life, but you've got to deeply, deeply imagine it, and not just imagine it from the outside looking in. You have to imagine you are there. You have to feel the feeling of where you are, smell the smells, listen to the sounds. You have got to trick your mind and body into believing it is real. It will put an imprint on the universe and it will pull you towards it.
Now, the biggest enemy of success, I would say there's probably 3 enemies of success. The first big enemy is the comfort zone. The comfort zone is where people become comfortable doing what they're doing and they don't like to change. So there's tremendous resistance to change in our society. 80% of the population finds reasons not to change, even if the change can be positive or beneficial. The second thing that holds people back is what is called learned helplessness. This is where people feel, I can't do it. The third enemy is what we call the path of least resistance, which is always looking for an easy way to achieve a result. But nothing worthwhile can be achieved easily. Everything worthwhile requires a long period of hard work.
Being bullied, coming from nothing, learning disability, messed up foundation, life isn't fair. At all. At all. So what are you going to do about it? I knew that no one was coming back to help me. No one was going to miracle me to be somebody special. All my situations were on me now. And solely on me.
The only way you ever get where you want to go, you have to take a path that's dangerous. And most people want to take the safe path. The safe path leaves you stuck in quiet desperation. Almost every time. It's hell. You have to do it like your life depends on it. Whatever time that you have to attack like you're trying to save the world. You're trying to save your life. You don't want to drown. You got to go. You got to get after it. And you got to have discipline.